Are you wondering how you can create a neon text effect in Illustrator? If your answer is yes, then you're in the right place. Hi there everyone, my name is Andre Marius. I've been working in Illustrator for over 10 years, and in this Envato Tuts Plus tutorial, I'll put my experience to use as I show you step by step how to create this neon text effect in Adobe Illustrator. To complete this text effect, you will need this brick wall photo and this Robinson regular font. Both of these assets come from Envato Elements, so make sure to check out Envato Elements, where with a simple subscription you can get unlimited access to millions of creative digital assets such as music, graphics, photos, fonts, and many more. You can subscribe right now with the link in the description. Let's start by opening Illustrator to create a new document. Select pixels from this drop-down menu. Set the width to 850 and the height to 600 pixels. Make sure that the color mode is set to RGB and the resolution to 72 pixels per inch. And then click this button to create your new document. Let's press Ctrl and minus to zoom out a bit. And before we start the work on the design, let's open all the panels that will be used throughout this tutorial. All you have to do is go to Window in the menu bar and open the Appearance panel, the Color panel, the Gradient panel, the Layers panel, the Swatches panel, the Transparency panel, and don't forget the Character panel. Once you're done, select the Rectangle tool from your toolbar, select the stroke and remove the color. Double-click the fill color to replace this white with 6, 0, and 34. And then just click on your artboard to create an 870 by 620 pixels shape. With the shape selected, move to the Control panel. Make sure that you have the alignment set to artboard, and then just click these two buttons to easily center your rectangle. Next, you will need this brick wall photo from Envato Elements, so just download it and drag it inside your document. Keep it selected and focus on the Control panel. First of all, make sure that you have this constraint button checked, lower the width to 1000, and then click again these two buttons to center your photo. Now focus on the Layers panel to open your layer and select this rectangle. Press Ctrl C to copy it and then Ctrl Shift and V to add a copy on top. Replace the fill color with black and change the blend mode to color. And then switch to the selection tool so that you can select this black rectangle along with the photo. Remember that you need to hold down the Shift key to add the photo to your selection. And press Ctrl and G to group these two objects. Lower the opacity of this group to 60%. And then press again Shift Ctrl and V to add a new copy of this rectangle. This time keep the original color but focus on the Appearance panel, select this fill and change the blend mode to soft light. Keep focusing on the Appearance panel and use this button to add a second fill for your selection. For this one, change the blend mode to overlay and replace the flat color with a radial gradient. Focus on the gradient sliders and start with this one. Just click it to select it and lower the opacity to 0%, and then double click it to open the color settings. Set the color mode to RGB and replace this color with 7, 41 and 189. Move to this other gradient slider, again double click it, change the color mode to RGB and replace the color with 6, 0 and 34. Now press Ctrl and minus to zoom out a bit and use the gradient tool to stretch your gradient roughly like this. Once you're done, you can hold down the Ctrl key and click outside the artboard to deselect your shape. Press Ctrl and plus to zoom in. Continue with the ellipse tool from your toolbar and use it to create a 770 by 200 pixels shape. Let's fill it with a flat color and make it 251, 139 and 243. Make sure that you keep this shape selected and go to Object, Transform and Move. Keep this horizontal value at 0 pixels and lower the vertical one to -190 pixels and then just click this copy button to add a copy of this ellipse 190 pixels up. Replace the fill color of this copy with 49, 252 and 253, and then use the selection tool to select both of these shapes. Press Ctrl and G to group them. Click these two buttons to move the group in the center of the artboard. Press Shift Ctrl and G to ungroup these shapes. Change the blend mode for both of these shapes to overlay, and then go to Effect, Blur and Radial Blur. Increase the amount to 25. Set the blur method to zoom and the quality to best. Click OK to apply the effect and go again to Effect, Blur, but this time select Gaussian Blur. Set the radius to 25 pixels. Click OK to apply the effect, and now let's move to the text. Start by selecting the type tool from your toolbar and focus on the character panel where you will set the settings for the text that you're about to add. Start by selecting that Robinson font which you got from Envato Elements. Increase the size to 150 and the tracking to 50, and then just click on your artboard to type in retro neon. Press the escape key to easily switch to the selection tool. The color of the text is not very important, but you can change it to white to make your text more visible. Now hold down the shift key to select your text along with this ellipse. Click again the edge of this ellipse, which will make it the reference shape, and then just click these two buttons to move your text in the center of the ellipse. When you're done, hold down the shift key to deselect this ellipse. Hold down the Alt key and simply click and drag to add a copy of this text. Double click it, press Ctrl and A to select the entire text and replace it with text effect. Again, press the escape key to easily switch to the selection tool. Hold down the shift key to add this ellipse to your selection. Click again the edge of this ellipse to make it the reference shape, and then click these two buttons to center your new text. Now that you got your text, let's work on the neon effect. We'll start with this one, so select it. Focus on the swatches panel and click this non-swatch to remove the current text color. And then move to the appearance panel and click this add new stroke button to add a new stroke for your text. Increase the size to 5 points and change the color with 5, 196 and 251. Return to the appearance panel and click again this button to add a second stroke for your text. Now, before you continue with the rest of the effect, you can press Ctrl and plus to zoom in on your text, so you can better notice the changes as you make them. Head back to the appearance panel to select this bottom stroke, replace this color with 8, 0 and 34, lower the opacity to 80%, and then go to Effect, Distort and Transform and Transform. Just move these two sliders to 6 and 2, which will move your selected stroke 6 pixels to the right and 2 pixels down. Click OK to apply this effect and go again to Effect, but this time Blur and Gaussian Blur. Set the radius to 4, click OK to apply this blur, and then make sure that you have this dark stroke selected and duplicate it using this button. Focus on this new stroke, select the blur and remove it. Lower the opacity to 10% and change the blend mode to soft light, and then select this blue stroke and duplicate it. Drag the copy in the bottom, select it and increase the stroke weight to 7, and then go to Effect, Stylize and Outer Glow. Change the blend mode to normal, replace this color with 3, 147 and 245. Increase the opacity to 100% and the blur to 30 pixels. Click OK to apply this effect and then duplicate the stroke. Let's focus on this second stroke. Open the outer glow effect and replace the color with 50, 235 and 253. Click OK, lower the opacity to 70% and the blur to 15 pixels. Click OK to apply this effect and then reselect this top stroke and duplicate it. Let's drag this copy in the bottom, select it and increase the size to 9 points, and don't forget to lower the opacity to 20%. Let's close some of these strokes. Make sure that you have this one selected, duplicate it, select just the bottom one and increase the weight to 13 points, lower the opacity to 10%, and then add a new stroke using this same button. Lower the size to 7 points, replace the color with black, drag it in the bottom of the panel, and then go to Effect, Stylize and Outer Glow. Increase the opacity to 100% and the blur to 60 pixels. Replace this color with 8, 34 and 189. Click OK and OK to apply the effect. Duplicate the stroke. Open the outer glow effect that's applied to this new stroke. Replace this color with 50, 235 and 253. Click OK. Keep these settings. Click OK to apply this effect. And then add 2 more strokes. Select the bottom one, lower the size to 4 points and replace the color with 50, 235 and 253. And then select the top one, set the size to 3 points, lower the opacity to 70% and replace the color with 215, 247 and 253. Let's add 1 more stroke for this text. Keep it selected and replace the color with white. Change the blend mode to overlay. And then open the stroke flyout panel to lower the stroke weight to 2 points. And from this drop-down menu, select with profile number 2. Now click this type section from the top of the appearance panel to make sure that the effect which you're about to add will be applied to the entire text, not just a stroke or a fill. Let's go to Effect, Stylize and Rounded Corners, set the radius to 1 pixel and click OK to add a bit of roundness to the corners of your text. Now that you got your neon effect, let's add it to this other piece of text. Focus on the Layers panel, hold down the Alt key and click and drag this target icon on top of the target icon that stands for your other piece of text. Release the mouse button and voila. One more thing that you need to do is select this text, double click this section, select the fill and just remove the color. Now you can press Ctrl and 0 to fit the artboard on your entire screen and select this piece of text to make some color changes. You can start with this stroke, so select it, replace the color with 251, 20 and 216, and then double click this color code and press Ctrl C to copy it. Now move to the stroke, again double click the color code and press Ctrl V to paste the code. Let's do the same for this one, and also for this one. Head back to the appearance panel to select this stroke and replace the color with 253, 229 and 251, and then select this one and replace the color with 253, 67 and 249. Again, copy the color code for this color. Open the stroke, open the outer glow effect, click the color, paste your color code, click OK and OK, and let's do the same for this outer glow effect. You've got 2 more outer glow effects that need to be edited, so let's start with this one. Click the color and replace it with 245, 18 and 172. And then let's move to the final outer glow effect, open it, click the color, replace it with 189, 21 and 49, click OK and OK, and that's it. For the final touches, let's add some glowing points. Select the ellipse tool from your toolbar, click on your artboard and create a 10 by 40 pixels shape. You can press Shift and X to swap the fill and stroke color settings. Select the fill and replace this black with white. You can press Ctrl and plus a few times to zoom in on this new shape. Let's move it aside so you can better notice the changes that we're about to make and focus on the appearance panel. First of all, you need to make sure that you have this fill selected. Change its blending mode to overlay and then go to Effect, Blur and Gaussian Blur. Set the radius to 5 pixels, click OK to apply the effect, and then add a second fill using this button. Lower the opacity of this new fill to 50%, change the blending mode to overlay, and then go to Effect, Path and Offset Path. Set the offset to -3 pixels, click OK, and then select the entire path and go to Effect, Distort and Transform and Pucker and Bloat. Drag this slider to -50%, click OK to apply this effect, and now you can press Ctrl and 0 to zoom out. Move your ellipse on top of the first letter from your text, and then hold down the Alt key as you click and drag to add a copy on top of each letter from your text until you end up with something that's somewhat similar with this. With these final touches, your design is complete. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember to hit that like button as it helps me know that I did a good job. Subscribe if you are not already, and don't forget to click the little bell icon to be notified of any new tutorials. I'm Andrei Marius, and I'll see you in the next video.